Today we are going to be talking about other elements of music that you may see in music or that you can use to make your music more exciting. So these elements of music that we're going to be talking about are ties, slurs, repeat signs, first and second endings, dynamic signs, and tempo markings. So let's dive in. The first elements that we are going to dive into today are ties and slurs. Ties and slurs can be tricky because if you don't know the difference, they can be easily confused. So the first one we're going to talk about is a tie. So a tie joins two notes of the same pitch. They are joined by a curved line that goes either above or below the note. And what it does is the tie combines the two values of the note and makes them one value. So the musician would not break between the two notes, they would be tied for a combined value. So it's a bit of math. What I mean by that is if there's two half notes that are tied together, so we have a half note that is 2 beats and a half note that is 2 beats. If they're tied together, it's going to combine for 4 beats. The musician would hold the pitch for 4 beats. If we have a dotted half note tied with a half note, the dotted half note is 3 beats, the half note is 2 beats. So they're combined together for a total of 5 beats. The musician would hold that pitch for 5 beats. Let's look at some examples. So in this example, we have a quarter note tied to a whole note. So the quarter note has 1 beat and the whole note has 4 beats. So when they're tied together, it is 5 beats. Okay, let's look at the next one. So in this example, we have a quarter note tied to a whole note, tied to another quarter note. So we have 1 plus 4 plus 1, which is 6 beats that the musician would hold. And our last one, we have a quarter note tied to an eighth note. So in this example, we have 1 and a half. So it would be 1 and a half beats that the musician would hold this pitch. The next musical element that we are going to be discussing today is a slur. So a slur looks a lot like a tie, except the notes that are being connected are differing pitches. So what a slur shows is that there's no break in sound between these pitches. So in different instruments, a slur represents different things. So on a wind instrument, like a clarinet, a saxophone, a trumpet, a slur shows that only the first note should be tongued and the rest of them are not tongued. However, on a string instrument, the slur indicates that all of those notes should be played in one bowing, so an up bow or a down bow. And on keyboard instruments, it shows that the musician should lift their hands after that slur is over. Here's some examples of some slurs. And this example shows both ties and slurs in the same passage, so you can see the differences between them. Notice how the ties are the same note and slurs include different notes within them. The next thing we're going to take a look at are repeat signs, first and second endings. So if you see these 2 dots and these 2 lines in a piece of music, that is a repeat sign. So if there's just one at the end of a phrase, that means that you go back to the beginning and you play it again. So you play through it. When you hit that repeat sign, you go back to the beginning and you play it again. You repeat it. However, sometimes in a piece of music, you will have 2 of these. So what that means is you're going to play until the repeat sign. Then you go back to the previous repeat sign, play from there, and repeat just that section. I'll put an example on the screen. And the last way to show a repeat that we will be talking about are first and second endings. So what that means is that there are multiple endings to a phrase of music. So you're going to start at the beginning. There is the little bracket that says 1, that is our first ending. So we're going to play through our first ending. When we get to that repeat sign, we're going to go back to the beginning, start at the beginning and play. And instead of playing that first ending, we're going to repeat but play the second ending instead. So I'll put it up and we'll show a little roadmap of that. The next musical element we are going to talk about are dynamic signs. So dynamic signs indicate the volume or how loud or soft the music should be played by a musician. The musical terms are most likely going to be written in Italian, since Italian composers were among the first to write these instructions in their music. So the word piano in Italian means soft. The word forte means loud. Those are some of the most common dynamic signs, but we're going to jump into some others as well. So in Italian, we have piano. The sign is a P, a little P. And in English, that means soft. We have forte, which is an F, and in English, that means loud. Then we have mezzo piano and mezzo forte, and those are moderately soft or moderately loud. And then we have pianissimo and fortissimo, which is very soft and very loud. You can add as many P's and F's as you want into these to really, really show how you want your music played. Another way that you can put dynamics into a piece of music are crescendos or decrescendos, which is a gradual change in dynamics. So if you want a phrase to start really soft and gradually get louder, or vice versa, you can put these in your music as well. When you have a crescendo, you can put either the word crescendo in your music, or you can put the sign for it, which looks like a hair clip, and it really shows what you want to do with your sound. So when it's quiet, the hair clip is skinny, and when it's big, the hair clip is big. So you can put those signs in your music as well. And the last musical element that we are going to discuss today are tempo markings. So tempo is an Italian word for rate or speed that the music is played. So the tempo marks how fast or slow the music should be played. So just like dynamics, they're written in Italian, and you get used to these Italian words, and you pretty quickly know what they mean in a piece of music. We're going to go over some of the most common ones here today. So largo is very slow. Andante is moving along walking speed. Moderato is moderately. Allegro is quickly. And vivace is lively and fast. You can also do gradual changes of tempo, just like you can with dynamics with our crescendo and decrescendo. But the words for tempo are ritardando and accelerando. So ritardando, you can also write that as R-I-T period in a piece of music, and that means to gradually get slower. And accelerando, or you can write A-C-C-E-L period, and that means to gradually get faster in a piece of music.